Good evening, everybody. We are live here for our business spotlight. One of my favorite things to do is our local business spotlights. I love local business owners, and especially ones that I've had the pleasure of dealing with over the years that have taken good care of me, and now seeing them grow is really a really rewarding thing to watch and see your friends succeed. And Chris Wagley here with CSC Customs at their new, been here a couple years now, so it's not brand new, but their new location in Baton Rouge on Airline Highway. I remember when this was a go-kart track a few years back. So what made you guys make the move, and what motivated you to jump on this location?
So I passed this store every day for 10 years, and always looked in the parking lot and was like, man, that'd be a cool store. And then Brent Melanson is who opened the Rockstar go-kart track, and he did team building. So the company come here and we all raced one another. And the first day I walked in, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, oh my God. And I'm looking around. I have chills. I said, this would be an awesome place for CSC.
Right.
And my business partners at the time, they're like, because this is a lot.
It's a huge spot.
So anyway, Brent ended up selling it. The building was kind of on pause for a little while. Once it became available, I was able to lease it, and really it's been a turning point since then.
Yeah. Well, and like you were telling me, that was like a big gamble, a big bet on yourself.
Oh yeah,
when you doubled down on this location, it was like all in. And when that deal didn't
6 years ago, man, CSC's been in business for about 17 years. 17 years this May, so 17 years, and 6 years ago, I couldn't rub two nickels together. I literally had $6,000 to my name. And the first check I wrote on this building was 20 grand.
Right.
With 6,000 in the bank. It got to the point where my wife was like, I'm not signing another check.
Right.
And I'm like, write the check. The bank's going to cover it. I had already had it worked out with them, and banks, they helped me out, and, I'm still with that bank today. United Community Bank.
United Community Bank.
Yeah, man, I tell you, they helped me become what I am today.
That's awesome. And that's the thing too. A lot of times for a business owner, it's just like access to capital.
Correct.
Correct. And then I got to say it, but got to have the balls to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And that was that was it. You pushed all the chips in on the table.
I believed without a doubt in my mind it would work. I had great business partners back when, CSC, Chris, Scott, Chad. I had great business partners, and, some of the ideas that I had, it's hard convincing three people to do that.
Yeah.
And not every time we were able to do that, but once it was just me, I didn't have to convince myself. I had no doubt in my mind that it would work. My wife believed in me. She was a big key player in the whole thing. She kept me focused, and but it was a hell of a leap. One of my suppliers that I'm really good friends with, the owner of TIS Wheels, it was like days before signing, and I texted him and I said, bro, I need to talk to you, because he's done everything in this world when it comes to business, and I told him what I was going to do, and he's like, don't do it.
Ooh.
He's like, you can't grow 300%. And it was about 300% compared to square footage and
the monthly lease and everything else.
Everything. And he's like, you just can't do that. And I still believed it would work.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, man, it was like flipping a switch. From day one, it progressively climbed, and still climbing, has not went backwards since then.
No, and that's huge, and that's the thing too. A lot of people don't realize friends and family sometimes will tell you to pump the brakes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Meaning well, but it's not always going to help you in the long run. I grew up. I wasn't raised with a silver spoon in my mouth, so I know what it's like to not have nothing.
not sure how I'm gonna make that payment that needs to be made, or how I'm gonna take care of Christmas. And so me rolling the dice and doing what we did, the worst thing that was going to happen is I was going to just start over.
Go back to what you've been
Go
before.
back to what I've done my whole life, and I would have just did it again.
Yeah.
So for me, I really didn't have nothing to lose.
Right.
I really didn't.
No, that's the right mindset, and that's where, again, like successful entrepreneurs, business owners, doesn't matter. You're going to be broke.
Yeah.
Maybe more than one time in your career. Usually it's a few times. I've been there, and lost it all and had to build it back. And so, like you said, $6,000, and we got to write a $20,000 commitment on the lease for this building, and having a wife that backs you is clutch. I mean, that's huge because again, like that can cause some turmoil at the house too.
Yeah, she was there, man. She stuck with me, and she works with me every day here. She does the back side of the business.
Yeah.
I pretty much stay down here. But yeah, man, I don't know if I could have done it without her.
That's awesome. And there's those two dynamics. There's either the couples who can work together, or the people that don't. I have friends. My wife and I work together, and people are like, "We'd kill each other." I don't know how y'all do it. So it's one or the other.
We don't have any issues. I mean, we butted head a few times,
of
but
course.
But
every
nothing,
couple does at some point.
It's been nothing that at the end of the day we didn't just laugh about it and work it out. Yeah, man, she's my rock for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you answered one of my questions. I was going to ask CSC.
Yeah.
So Chris, Scott, Chad.
Yeah.
So are Scott and Chad still with the team? Or
no. So me and Scott talk a good bit, and we are entertaining some things soon. I haven't really publicly put that out there yet, but we are entertaining some things. Chad moved on, and he is doing, I believe he's at, I'm not sure where he's at, but he's in the heavy truck world.
Okay.
Like dump trucks, 18-wheelers, that type stuff. I believe, the last I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was curious because I'd never really knew what CSC stood for.
Yeah. It was. So it started with me and Chad. I was the manager at Simple Simons.
Okay.
Right down here, and Chad come in, and we ended up becoming friends. And I left Simple Simons and went to Robinson Brothers, and Chad come by one day, and I told him about an idea I had, and he's like, "Man, let's do something."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right," and I left it alone. He called me a couple weeks later. "Hey, did you get that, figured out yet?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna get to it." And he called me a third time, and I'm like, "Man, I need to do this." So I kind of put down on paper what I thought we could do, and I was way off. But anyway, we started this business with $10,000 17 years ago.
Yeah. Now, have you guys always been mostly truck and suspension, or what'd you start out?
So I kind of accidentally fell into the four-wheel drive world.
Okay.
I've been lowered vehicles my whole life.
Ah, okay.
And when Chad and I opened, which was Armadillo Liners of Baton Rouge at the time, we were just a bedliner shop. And we were in it for about a year. We wanted to go, that store only catered me at the dealership. So we were in it about a year. We wanted to go retail, so we found a brick and mortar, and we were doing something one weekend. I think it was a Tickfall 200, but I just lowered my truck, put big wheels on it, and I put CSC Customs across my windshield and inside my wheels, and went over there. So like the CSC, it wasn't even a thing then, So when I pulled up, they loved it, and then that's how the whole CSC Customs name even started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember the lowrider scene was big for a while, and now obviously 4x4s have always been like a staple. I remember high school, all the guys with the lifted trucks, and I loved when all my friends would get drunk in high school and then ask me to drive their trucks.
Yep.
And then it was so easy to instigate them to go off-road.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm like, hey, let's go off-road. And they're like, all right. So I used to just love going and tearing up in the big 4x4 trucks off-road all the time. And it was one of my favorite things in high school. Like, we'd always go and everybody go mud riding, and the old where the Blue Bonnet Mall is was all the spots and off O'Neill, and we used to have so much fun doing all that. And so, are there places to go and go off road now anywhere? Without getting in trouble? We were doing it. Like,
so that's the thing. There's not many places anymore that you won't get in trouble. We do off-road recovery. If you get stuck, we'll come get you.
Okay.
If we don't have to trespass, it's a lot cheaper. But
that's a good service.
But if we have to trespass to get to you, and we potentially could get in trouble, or possibly have our vehicles impounded, well, that would factor in.
That's
on
a heavy
price.
tow fee.
Yeah, no doubt. And especially some of the stuff that we would bring to get some of these people out. Like you asked me about that Suburban earlier.
Yeah, the monster truck.
If I take something like that out, it's $1,000 to even put it on the trailer.
I was going to joke with you, if you still had it, I was going to say, I want to go pick up Asher from school in it one day.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool.
Because his school, like my wife and I are in so many different cars and stuff, and they'll always joke, and they're like, wait, is this your car?
My wife gets picked on every time she goes to the bank. She's in a different vehicle. So I know what you mean. But I have something you could take over there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're almost done with it.
Okay, that'll be fun. We'll catch Asher before the end of the school year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Pull up in one of the custom SEMA trucks back there. So let's talk about, obviously, suspension, kind of the full range, because I'm looking, I see the signs, gooseneck hitches, alignments, bed liners, tint, what?
We're a true one-stop shop.
Okay.
So there's really nothing automotive that I can't do or won't do.
Got it.
If you need it for a truck or car, we're very misunderstood in the truck world. They think that we're just trucks, and we're not. We will do cars, and we do cars. There's cars back there now.
Well, you and Sterling did my race car trailer.
Yeah.
I remember I had a blowout
Yep.
and 4 tires on my car trailer.
Yeah, there's not really, if it's on the road, we'll work on it.
Yeah.
When I put that door in, I made that door to the size. There's nothing that drives on the road that can't pull in that door. And, there's not a whole lot we won't do.
Yeah.
If anything at all.
Yeah, if you guys see back there, and I love, from when this was the go-kart track, it's got all the windows looking back into the shop, and you kept it like that.
I did.
And the shop is spotless. You guys keep that shop
It's a double-edged sword.
You got to keep it looking good.
You got to keep it looking good, So when I first moved into this building, our neighbors across the street come over to see what was going on, and he's like, man, I know you're going to paint these windows, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I love that my customer can see what's going on.
Yeah.
There's this full transparency here. We don't hide anything, and you know what? It kills it. Time flies. If a customer might be here getting a tint job, well, there's a lot to watch going on out there.
Right.
Whether they're welding or cutting stuff or installing or taking stuff off, there's just a lot of moving parts back there. So time flies for the customer when they're waiting on something.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Kind of like the restaurants where the kitchen is exposed, and you can see what's going on in the kitchen. And like you said, it's a double. You got to keep the kitchen impeccable.
Yeah.
If you're going to have that.
Oh yeah. Well, you'll get that customer who's like, that guy's had my truck back there 20 minutes and he's been on his phone. A lot of them don't realize now, that the stuff that we're installing doesn't come with instructions anymore. Now it's QR code. And they want you to scan the code to save $1.
Get the YouTube video.
Yeah, and go to the video, watch the install, my guys, all of them's been doing this for a long time. I probably have, I've got 25 or 26 employees at the Baton Rouge location. We got over 60 years experience under this one roof. But if I did that lift today and another one comes here tomorrow, we're still going to look over those instructions.
Yeah.
They have Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 of everything that we do.
Right.
And, just because we did it this way today doesn't mean that kit will be the same the next day. So we thoroughly will look over the instructions to make sure nothing's changed.
Well, and when you mentioned the lifts, you were telling me something before the show And I want to go back to that story because there's right ways to lift.
Oh, no
there's
doubt.
wrong ways to lift.
No doubt.
Anyway, I gotta pick on, like my daughter, there was one guy she dated, he had a squatted truck, and I told her I don't need to meet him.
Yeah. I understand.
And so I gotta pick on my squatted truck people out there.
Yeah.
I don't have any squatted truck people.
Yeah.
But like the
So we won't
suicidal
do-
squatted
yeah,
trucks that are
we won't do
dangerous
that.
on the road.
We will not do that. I've
Yeah.
lost business because I won't squat their truck.
Yeah.
You know, when that truck leaves here, it's leaving level.
Right.
It's, for one, it's legal.
Right.
You know, you can't have it squatted like that legally.
Right.
You know, some states and towns don't enforce it as much as others, but the liability, you
Right.
know, I mean, you can't see over the hood.
No.
All the oil in the motor is to the back of the motor. All the oil in the transmission is to the back of the transmission. It's just not good for the vehicle, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
There are still shops in this town that do it. They cater a different demographics of customers.
Well, and obviously, like we talked, the safety, one thing, you were telling me you had a lift come in here
Just
that was like a lift on top of a lift.
Yeah, they had a 9-inch lift with a 4-inch leveling kit on top. And to make the wheel and tire clear the spindle, they literally grinded more than 60% of the spindle on both sides because it put the way that they lifted it put it in such a bind. I don't know how it didn't break. I don't know how he made it here.
Yeah.
But he had left the other shop and come straight here because it was on his way going home, but he wouldn't have made it any further.
Well, and for non-car people out there, because right when you were describing it to me, the first thing I envisioned was I'm on the interstate, that spindle and that front wheel is just going to fold under,
Yeah.
and I'm going to roll.
Correct. Yeah, on a truck as big, especially as big as that one was.
Man, 9-inch, that's a foot high
Yeah,
lift. I mean,
yeah.
so that's,
You know.
we're men, so 9 inches rounds up to a foot.
That's right. 13, 14 inches.
But I mean, a 9-inch lift and
on
that
a
wheel
lift,
folds.
on a lift that tall, with that big of a tire, you wouldn't have been able to control that if it came apart.
Yeah.
There's no doubt we helped that guy because he would have been hurt. But there's
could hurt
definitely no
other
doubt.
people, too.
No doubt. You know, my kids and my family are driving in cars. They could have been passing this guy when that thing failed.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt that we didn't help that company,
Yeah.
you know, by fixing this man's truck. We had to take it, we had to redo everything, but we got him fixed up. He's good to go. But there's a lot of stuff, man. We fix a lot of stuff that I used to advertise that if we didn't lift your truck, that I would check it for free.
That's a good, yeah.
If CSC didn't lift your vehicle, you can bring it here and I will check it to make sure it's okay.
That's a really good, because there's a lot of people, or backyard do-it-yourselfers, or
And that's okay. You know, we sell a ton of parts over the counter for the DIY guys.
Yeah.
But you know, there needs, even here we have 3 points of quality control. You know, the tech does it. Then we have the alignment guy. So if the tech installs it, I have a different guy align it. He once overs it, checks everything,
Right.
checks all the bolts, he does the alignment. And when that guy's done, he brings it to my service manager, and then my service manager will check it one last time. You know, if that DIY guy is laying on his back for 2 days trying to put this lift on in his driveway, which he's probably more than capable of doing, you know, it's easy to overlook something.
Sure.
You know, and if you don't, you can over torque something, you can under torque it, put the wrong bolt in the wrong hole, all of that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a time that we aggressively advertised.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a stab at other shops. It was just concerned about the safety. A lot of these kids are doing it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yep.
you know, and there's some unsafe stuff on this road. It would blow your mind, some of the stuff that comes through this building every day
Yeah.
that is going to kill somebody when it fails.
Right.
Not if, but when.
When, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a matter of when that wheel comes off, or
Yeah.
like we talk, that spindle. I mean, brakes under,
Yeah.
especially. Hopefully,
I mean,
it didn't happen.
I don't know if you've
interstate
seen,
speeds.
there's a viral video that went around social media on Facebook mainly that I seen it, but it was a guy going down the road in a Chevy truck and his wheel come off and the little SUV hit the wheel and it flipped the
Yes.
SUV.
sent it flying.
Yeah, I mean, it sent this car into a full flip in the air, you know. Kids, anybody could, a pregnant woman could have been in that car, you know. So,
Right.
you know, like I said, it wasn't a stab at any other shop. It's really just being concerned about the safety
Yeah.
of the people in those vehicles, but also my family that's passing
Yeah.
these people every day.
Well, and I mean, you know, because you work on these
Yeah.
trucks every day, lowering them or raising them. You know, there's safety that
Yeah,
goes into
no
either
doubt.
one.
And there's so much into it. You
Yeah.
know. They come in all the time, you know, they want to show you a picture, and I'm like, can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. It's right here. I'm like, that's a still shot on Instagram.
That's not drivable.
Yeah, no, we just won't do it.
Yeah.
It's got to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's a good point. You know, something that could look cool, but that thing doesn't get on the road. That's
Yeah,
a trailer
no doubt.
queen that
Yeah.
doesn't actually go anywhere
Yeah,
except to
correct.
car shows.
Correct.
And it's not
You know,
drivable.
we've had people come here and we check out their trucks, or we find something that's serious like that they, you know, choose not to fix it for whatever reason. It could be funds. Maybe they don't believe it's as bad as what we are telling them, or they just gonna go home and do it themselves.
Yeah.
I've made people take it out of here on a tow truck. You know, it's a bad situation to have with a customer, but if I believe, or my service manager believes without a doubt that it's a safety issue,
Right.
it ain't leaving here on, not
Yeah.
like, if it ain't fixed, it's leaving on a tow truck.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the tow truck.
Right.
It ain't driving out of here.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be the last person to touch that truck when it falls apart.
Yeah. I wouldn't want that on my conscience either.
No, I'll pay for it, but it's leaving on a tow truck.
Which that says a lot about you,
Yeah.
and obviously why
Yeah.
business is going well.
Yeah.
And, you know, because that's one thing I was really impressed too. We were talking. You know, you guys have grown the
Yeah.
last 4 years.
Yeah.
You've opened a second location now. Is it
Yep.
Prairieville or Gonzales?
It's
How far?
Gonzales.
It is Gonzales.
Yep.
In Gonzales on Airline Highway. Okay.
Yeah, we're in the old Auto Works building.
Okay.
Damon Dewey on that building.
All right.
It don't take word long to spread in this industry, and there was some things we were hearing. I reached out to Damon, and he told me he confirmed what we were hearing, and I told him I was interested in the building.
Yeah.
Did a walkthrough on a Saturday, and Monday I had the keys.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the two locations, do y'all do anything different at one from the other, or?
So, I'm glad you asked me that. So this is, you know, I mentioned earlier that we're kind of confused that we're just a truck shop. We are changing our business plan for Ascension. Ascension is a street truck car world.
Okay.
Lowered trucks, fast cars.
Right.
You know, so we are thinking about doing a four-wheel drive commercial street truck car.
Uh-huh.
You know, so that's the plans with that. You know, we got a lot of big plans come January. I've been out for a back surgery, so come January, you know, I've had plenty of time to strategize and
Yeah.
figure out what I want to do. So, you know, I've got some big things coming in January, man. That's gonna
Awesome.
it's gonna shake the.
Any
shake-
you want to give a
shake
little sprinkle, a little hint out there for anybody?
it. We may or may not be getting into the full air ride suspension market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. I know we were going to be doing one on an old Cadillac, drop-top Cadillac.
Yeah.
My buddy Corey and I bought a Cadillac a few years ago, and it's just been kind of sitting up. It's been a project.
Man, I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I'd lay it out.
Okay. I'll get
Yeah.
with you.
So I'll go ahead and announce it now. You know, I hired a guy that's moving here from Arizona,
Okay.
and we have the 4 bays in the back here
Sweet.
that we'll be doing full air ride suspension,
Nice.
and also we'll be offering it in Gonzales as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, like you said, trucks, 4x4s, raised, lifted, lowered.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things you guys
Commercial,
like to do?
you know, we do a lot of commercial trucks. You know, we're not just
Yeah.
the bells and whistles, the fun stuff that, you know, we do.
Work trucks.
Yeah, we do help people make their trucks make them money.
Yeah, I see you can't see them on camera, but I see all the toolboxes
Yeah,
and
yeah. So we do
fuel pumps and all that in the back.
yeah, the fuel tanks, fuel pumps, service bodies, flatbeds, lift gates, crane trucks. You know,
Okay.
there's not anything on the road that we don't do.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and I saw I was looking to I'm a neat freak with my car.
Yeah.
And I saw you got the whole
Yeah.
suite of like all
So-
the chemical guys products.
Yeah, we
and
take
all the
we take
detail
pride
stuff.
we take pride in that wall. You know, there's a lot of a lot of people, a lot of DIY people that do it themselves on when it comes to cleaning their vehicle. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, we tried multiple brands, and with the chemical guys,
They got some good stuff.
They had something for any situation. You know, and my guy Brock, he's my guru when it comes to that.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot he doesn't know about that brand. You could come in here and talk to Brock.
Yeah.
Tell him what problem you have, and he's gonna bring you right to the product. This is what you need.
I started using a lot of their stuff because it was as good as the professional stuff.
Yeah.
But you could order it as a consumer.
Correct.
And and the price weren't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, the price is the price is very fair. You
Yeah.
know, we sell everything here at minimum advertised price.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether it's that cleaning product, those rims, that toolbox over there. If you Google it, that's the price we sell it for.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's why we do so well with that. Is
Yeah.
because we don't mark it up, and there's not a big profit margin.
Right.
But the volume that I do on that, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, and Amazon and
Yeah.
everything, like to be in any kind of retail now, I mean, you have to be competitively
Yeah.
priced.
If you're selling it, and look, there's shops that do sell it for more. There's shops, I guess, that would sell it for less. But yeah, if you're not competitive, especially like you said with Amazon, you know, you might not be here long.
Yeah.
You know, Amazon is
They're here to stay.
they ain't going nowhere.
They
They're definitely
They bought the old mall and turned it into a
definitely-
shipping center. So they're
definitely the fall of the mall. I think there will be a day that the mall will be a thing of the past.
I saw it's been a minute, been about a year, but it was early, like close to 2000, like in the 90s, there were over 2,000 malls in America.
Yeah.
And then within the last few years, that number had dropped to in the 700 range.
Wow.
And they're expecting that number to decline into like the 100 range in the next decade. Like,
And I bet you, if you probably could do a Google search and figure it out, but you know, not only are they putting them out of business, Amazon's putting them out of business, but then they're buying their land for pennies on the dollar.
look at the mall here. Old Cortana Mall is an
Cortana
Amazon
Mall's
shipping
gone,
plant.
and it's an Amazon shipping facility now that I can't even imagine the square foot that's in that building.
Yeah.
A couple million.
Well, and that's why I love doing these business spotlights, you know, because I want local businesses to
Yeah.
thrive,
Yeah.
you know, and I want to work with good people
Yeah.
that I like working with. That
Yeah.
treated me well, and I want other people to know the services that are offered, and there's a service that Amazon can't do.
Correct.
That's the one good thing too is, you know, you don't just sell a toolbox,
Yes,
or cleaning products or rims,
Yes.
you know, like
And their warranty's different.
yeah.
I recently had a customer come in that bought his airbags off of Amazon, installed them, had some issues. We figured out what it was, and he needed to warranty out one of his airbags. He did not buy them from me, but I told him I'm gonna, you know, I just need your receipt and I'll
help you with
call. Yeah, because I mean we can make the call and get it done pretty quick, you know. But it didn't work like that. So if you buy them airbags from me and have a problem, I'm gonna call my supplier. They say, okay, I got you another set on the way. I'm gonna walk over there, pull them off my shelf, and swap them out.
Of course.
When yours come in, I'll resell those and then move on. But it didn't work like that, and he had to go back to Amazon. They had to be returned back to Amazon, and that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, you know, they don't have, you know, the service that we offer. You know,
Right.
For one, their warranty's not the same.
That's good to know because
Yeah.
I never thought about that
Yeah.
from like, especially because I don't buy a lot of big purchases on
Yeah.
Amazon because I don't like to deal with that
Yeah.
or the liability.
Yeah.
I'd rather go somewhere local
Yeah.
for my big purchase
And,
stuff.
and it's important, you know. I mean, I'm guilty. I you know, I didn't like Amazon, but in some cases it's hard not to buy from them.
So notice the shirt up here in the frame, the
Yeah.
mechanic shirt. So what's the story?
So that's Daryl Carmina,
Okay.
my son's grandfather, my ex-father-in-law. He worked for me up to about a year of him passing away.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he had cancer, and they did a surgery to remove the cancer, and then he was released from the hospital, and a few days later had to go back, put on a ventilator, and he never woke up. So he was a big part, and CSC being what it is, he was on the tech side of it. He's the one that got me the job at Robinson Brothers. He was the main tech there.
Okay.
And he come on with me when I made the jump and stuck with me, and helped me through thick and thin, so, and we were super close.
Yeah. I knew
he was
that
my
was-
ex-father-in-law, but he was still
family.
Yeah, he's still family.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I knew there had to be something
Yeah,
when
so
I
we,
saw it up there in the case.
Yeah, so we put that up there, and just
I know you're a family man because last
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
and you mentioned your stepmother's doing well.
Yep, everything's good.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yep, everything's good. We had a little scare, but everything's fine.
Good.
Yep.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. Now, family's always first.
Yep.
And you run a business, so you
Yeah.
sacrifice a lot of time.
Ain't no doubt.
Just saying, I know you didn't build this working 40 hours a week.
No. They say in business, if you make it a year, you got it made. That ain't true. No, that ain't even close. 6 years, you ain't got it made. 10 years.
Yeah. I saw the statistic is, in the first 5 years, it's over half of businesses fail.
Yeah, correct.
And in 10 years, over 90%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Wow.
crazy number of startups.
Yeah.
And so people now, they see all the success and the trucks and but like you said, they don't see when you were down to your last $6,000 and bet everything on it.
Look, I thank God all the time. I pull in this building and I just kind of shake my head like, I still wowed when I walk in here, and all those vehicles you see back there, most of them are finished, waiting to be picked up, but some of them are here to be worked on, and I can only fit what fits in the building. The rest is in the parking lot, and business is good.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times, that the odds were definitely stacked against us, and we just kept pushing, man. Good people. My people here,
Yeah.
I've got some good people.
Well, I saw one of my buddies, Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling
You
Bird.
mentioned when I walked in, Sterling said, hey, and he had come back.
Yep, Sterling's back. He left for a little while. At the time he left, I couldn't blame him. We were struggling.
Yeah.
It was a little bit before COVID, and
Right.
we were in that little building killing ourselves to do 3 trucks a day. Now we do 30 a day.
Wow.
So, and back then, like I said earlier, I couldn't rub 2 nickels together back then. And he was concerned about his well-being, and so he parted ways, and he stayed gone for a little while, but he's back. And
That's good.
we talked still all the time, and I would tell him what we were doing over here, and and he's like, ain't no way. And I'm like, bro, you just have no idea. You need to come see. And he was definitely shocked when he got here.
So business owners out there, people that are building a business, what do you think separated you from the competition these last 5 years? While a lot of people were downsizing, and especially, a lot of this is a luxury.
Yeah.
Fixing up a vehicle isn't a necessity. Now, if it's a fleet truck for industrial, but what do you think puts you ahead and sets you
Our
apart?
service after the sale.
Yeah.
We don't advertise. I don't really spend any money on advertising. We're very fortunate. I don't have to.
Yeah.
If I do one customer's vehicle, he's going to send me 10 people.
Right.
Those 10 are going to send me 10 each. And our service after the sale.
That's huge.
When you walk in here, if I'm here, I'm going to shake your hand. Whether I'm meeting you for the first time or I've known you for 5 years. I care about my customer. I don't care about the bottom line.
Yeah.
I give stuff away every day.
Yeah.
Like, I just...
When you mentioned the free inspections on lifts,
Yeah. You know, we had a situation where my store manager's been dealing with a supplier for 4 days on getting a $48 part warranted, and they're wanting the pictures and they're wanting videos. They want to see what, you know. I'm like, dude, buy the part and keep moving. You know?
Our hourly shop rate is more than $48
You know, and I
an
told
hour.
him, I said, email those people and tell them we've spent more in time
Than $48.
than the $48.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't care about the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of those owners that, you know, pinch pennies and worry that. I'm not one of those. You know, I just the revenue, the bottom line does not bother me.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned earlier, 20 plus employees that work here, and my competitor shops has 5 or 6, 7-ish. Do I need 25? I could probably cut back, but I don't know if I could do without any one of them this year.
Right.
Every one of them, they all are really good at what they do, and you know, I'm not gonna let somebody go to raise the bottom line.
Right.
I've worked for companies, you know, I won't mention the name, but he would go out of town and, you know, and like a little men's retreat, just kind of, you know, where you reflect back and just think, but he'd come back and I'd have to let 4 or 5 people go.
Right.
You know, to raise revenue in the company, you either need to go up on your prices or
cut cost.
Or cut cost.
Yep.
You know, if the sales aren't there, but our sales are here. you
Yeah.
know, so we're very fortunate.
Yeah. You know, and I saw that. I learned that lesson the hard way. I went to work for a big company 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Promised me the world. I left my mortgage brokerage, and this was January of 22.
Yeah.
The mortgage market collapsed
Yes.
in 22.
Yeah.
6 months later, they fired me and thousands of other people that year,
Yeah.
and then trumped up bogus reasons for
Yeah.
firing people to then try to sue us to get their bonuses and get what they paid us back.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, happy to say that we won that case.
That's good.
You know, but it cost. You know, I said it's like I lost a battle but won the war.
Yeah.
Still cost me six
Yeah, oh, ain't no
figures
doubt. Ain't
to
no
pay
doubt.
an attorney to fight that.
I left.
And those companies, it's profit over people, and I always say people over profit.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, like you, my company. There have been times when I've lost them, or I didn't take a check,
Yeah. Oh no.
but my employees did,
Yeah.
because my wife knows we'll go without before our team does.
100%.
So
I have definitely done that.
Yeah.
I definitely have done that.
yeah, I think most good business owners
Yeah,
have,
no doubt.
You know, and ethical ones, and there are some that, people who just, hey, it's all about the bottom line.
Yep, that's right.
And they, like you said, they'll send people home at Christmas to cut the bottom line.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that, you know,
I don't know that, I can't tell you the last time I've asked my wife, you know, how are we doing? Where are we at?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I used to ask that a lot just because I had to make sure that, you know, payroll's coming Friday, this and that. But, you know, it's been a long time since I've had to
yeah,
worry about that.
that's a good feeling.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
So the location in, when did y'all open the Gonzales location?
So Gonzales, technically is open a year today, this month.
Oh, wow, okay.
So we were in the building, but didn't officially open till January 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing really well. Like I said, we're kind of driving that store to more street truck now.
Yeah.
We went in with a different attitude and a different mindset that, you know, we were just going to do a smaller version of this, and you know, we were wrong about Ascension. You know, Ascension is a different. It's
funny how just 20 minutes up the road is a different market.
It really is crazy.
Yeah.
It's a complete different demographics of customers, and you know, so our Gonzales location, like I said, you know, we're gonna really start pushing this street truck and car scene.
Yeah. Now, one thing I was surprised too, you were showing me one of the trucks back there. You had done a insane custom stereo in that.
Yeah.
So y'all do stereo stuff here too?
Yeah, we don't advertise it.
No.
You know, we again, something else that we're going to be introducing publicly. You know,
Yeah.
come the first of the year, is we will be a full line car stereo shop here and in Ascension.
Okay.
We're going to start it here, and then we'll we'll start moving some of it to Ascension.
Yeah.
The Ascension, I believe, will be strong. It was an audio shop. I put car stereo in that shop 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So my roots is car stereo.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to put stereo back in that building, like
Right.
I did 25 years ago.
It's funny. My wife, she calls me a big kid, because every time I get in the car, like it goes, she's like, "Where's your car?"
Window tint, rims, and audio.
Yes, 100%.
Yep.
You got all
Yep.
three. Like, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That is the must.
Yep.
Like before it even hits the road.
Ain't no doubt. No doubt.
Especially the heat down here.
Yeah, no
I got
doubt.
out my window tint.
Yep.
And 99% of the cars, the wheels got to be upgraded.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, audio always has to be upgraded.
Yeah, the window tint world has changed. 10 years ago, the film that we had 10 years ago versus the film that we have now,
Oh, it's unreal.
it's unbelievable. The UV protection and the IR rejection that we get out of these films now, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
You could be 90 years old and you need window tint. We don't have to make it darker.
Yeah.
I have
Crystal
tint
clear.
that's literally almost clear.
I know.
It's 80%, which 80% light transmission, but blocks 80% of the heat that comes through that glass.
Yeah.
And I'm using round numbers, but it is insane.
I know.
The technology that is in window tint now.
Yep. Same thing I've seen with, for my cars, the thing I've started doing, especially if I get a brand new vehicle, the PPF protection on the
Yes.
front
Yep.
for the rock chips and
Yep.
everything. That clear film,
Yes.
that stuff is bulletproof
Yeah, it's-
practically
yeah,
now,
it's
and
nice.
it's crystal clear.
That's right. Back in the day that used to yellow and
Yellow
yellow
so
no
bad.
more. You couldn't buff it back then. Now
Yep.
we can buff it. And now, so we do PPF here, but we also do colored PPF.
Yeah.
So if your car's white, and you want it to be black, not only can I wrap it black, but I can wrap it with a PPF film, so I can paint protect your
whole car.
whole vehicle and change the color.
Yeah.
If you want it, if it's black and you just want it flat, we can. That's simple to do. And
Yeah.
it's with PPF film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so y'all do the full vehicle wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. Like, we did a clear. My wife's car was this really, it was a flat, very flat
Yes.
red
Yeah.
from the factory. And every imperfection showed
Yeah, no doubt.
the clear everything. So the minute we got it, it was like paint
Yep.
correction. Even
Yep.
though it was a brand new car, it needed a lot of swirls
Ain't no doubt.
and a lot of paint correction, and then clear wrap
Yep.
on the car.
Yeah. I said that there ain't much that we don't do. That's the only thing that we don't do here. But again, it's the first thing that just like you, it's one of the first things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a brand new car. One of my really good friends owns a dealership, and I bought a car from him. I was like, don't even wash it. And it leaves straight from him and goes straight to a detail shop.
Yep.
And there's several really good ones here in Baton Rouge
Yeah.
and Ascension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was, I tell you, it's surprising. Hers was a Porsche.
Yeah.
And it sat at the port waiting on some
Yep.
part during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it got here, the amount of water acid water
Oh, yeah,
spots
no
on the
doubt.
glass, it even took my buddy's detail shop multiple
Yeah.
times to get the glass clear
Yeah.
and get the paint corrected. And it was a brand new car.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of disappointing when
It
you
was the
get
same way with our Porsche. We had the Taycan.
That's what we got.
Yep. And
Yep.
I used let's see, who did I use? Matt with VIP
Okay.
Surface Concepts.
Okay.
And he spent, I don't know, 3-4 days on that car.
Right.
It was brand new, but it was well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that was. So we got a red Taycan.
Yep.
So-
Yeah, ours was black.
Yeah, so both colors.
Yeah.
They're very flat.
Yeah.
They look great when they're clean.
Yes.
But-
she wanted that the Panamera, and it was like a pinkish purplish color.
I seen that
It was
color.
cool, and they had one there, and I was like, just drive. All I want you to do is drive this Taycan.
Yes.
And because I had the Tesla Model S Plaid, so I was like, she's like, I don't want electric. I said, I just want you to drive it.
Try it.
And when she drove it, she's like, oh my God. It's so smooth, it's so quiet.
And
Needless to
so
say,
fast.
we left with it.
Fun to drive. It's one of my favorite cars we've ever owned.
No doubt. Yep.
That's funny. What year is yours?
So ours was a 24.
Okay. Oh, so y'all just got
Yeah,
one.
yep.
Okay, so we got a 22, and we were just there the other day looking at trading it out for. She can't find another car she wants,
Yeah.
and her lease is up in a year, and they're giving like a full pull ahead. So
Yeah, I was gonna say you could probably go because
yeah,
I mean you went to Brian Harris.
Yeah, right here. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we were looking at one the
yeah,
other day.
I would almost think that they could probably you
They
wouldn't
can
have to
swap.
wait that year.
Yeah, they have a 12-month pull ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no other car now that she
so
wants.
the difference between yours and ours performance, I mean, there's a lot of differences between the 22 and 24.
Yeah.
Well, even the 25 now is a brand new body style.
Well, really?
Yeah,
I haven't
so
seen that yet.
The 25 is different than the 24.
I saw they made some new trims.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's
the
some
GTS.
different- yep, there's some
yeah,
different-
like some so she's got the Taycan Turbo, but not the Turbo S.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, you'll like that one.
Yeah.
She Shannon called it her ninja. It was super quiet. She could just just sneak up on it.
My wife, we always joke when guys are revving their engine on side of us. I'm like, show them what's up. And she just turns the sport knob.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have the you
The
have
little
the little active exhaust button.
and it just goes whoop.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's funny being car guys. Like, I love this stuff, you know, and being around. Like, I miss. That's one thing I wish I never sold. The truck I got the tires from you, that F-150, had that Tuscany.
Yep.
F-150, and that's one of my regrets. I was like in my top 3 vehicles I should have never sold.
Yep.
And that one's definitely up there.
I have a few of those on that list.
Yeah.
That I shouldn't have never sold.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of them that I should have never bought. The list of should have never bought is definitely longer than the ones I should have never sold.
Yeah, I'm accumulating like you said, a list of, man, if I'd have just kept those and they'd be paid for and they were reliable and never.
I
they didn't
jokingly
cost me any
tell
money.
my wife I'm gonna mess my credit up for a little while just so I won't buy a vehicle. You know, because I see these things, I get to work on them every day, and I deal with dealerships every day.
Yeah.
And I try to spread my business, and you know, the people that do business with me, I buy from them.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
same way.
You know, so it puts you in a bad position, you know, when you have the ability to buy any of these things that come through here every day, and we get to take them apart. So I know the good ones from the bad ones.
Yeah, I know. You know the guy. So a lot of Vinny with Vinny's Exotics is one of my first calls when I'm considering another car.
Yep,
I'm like,
doubt.
hey, what's the ins and outs on this?
Yep, ain't no doubt.
And he's always spot on. Like, he warned me with my McLaren. He goes, depends on which one you get. They're finicky, and I got a finicky one.
Yeah.
And so it made it about a year, and then it was time for something else.
You got rid of it?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I loved it, but on these roads, and it was at Vinny's more than it was at my house. So I was like, that's no fun.
Yep. So I'm that guy in the truck world. You know, every day my phone rings, and it's somebody that's, you know, just needing advice. Hey, I'm thinking about going Dodge, but I have a Ford, or vice versa, or Chevrolet, and you know, and then I just link them to the to the people.
Give me the good, the bad, the ugly, and unbiased. You know, because you see them all.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, exactly. For a truck opinion, you'd be my first call. Like, all right, I'm gonna get another 4x4. What's your pick?
I could definitely tell you off camera which brand not to buy.
I know.
Yeah.
My buddy's trying to talk me into buying. He's got a Velociraptor that's beautiful, and Jennifer's like, no, we're not.
Yeah. So I had the TRX briefly. I had it about a week. Remember when COVID prices of the trucks were just,
you couldn't get stuff.
Yeah, you couldn't get anything, and if you had it, it was worth more.
Yeah, worth more than
you paid for it 4 years later. Well, I had the TRX, and I only had it a week, and there was 2 trucks in that period that happened. One of them was a dually. Customer come in, he's like, man, whose truck is that? I said, it's mine. He's like, I want that truck. I was like, it's not for sale. And he's like, I want that truck.
Okay.
So
everything's got a price.
About 2 weeks later, he bought that truck.
Yeah.
You know, but same with the TRX. You know, my wife's Bronco I had. You know,
I had a friend make like 25 grand. 25 grand he made 6 or 8 months after he bought his Bronco. sold it for 25 grand more than he paid for
We
the
did a
allotment.
ton of stuff to hers, and one of my really good friends bought it, so it's still here. And I mean, matter of fact, I think it's here now. I know it was here yesterday. We were doing some work on it, and I bought her another one, and it's cool, but she still does
She
not
misses
let
the
me lift
original.
that first Bronco down.
My wife's favorite vehicle, like she talked, other than her Porsche, Porsche all the, but my big truck. She's like, I love driving that thing.
We could build you another one.
I own the road. Exactly. Right. Exactly right.
Yep.
So, best way to get in touch with you guys, like people looking to contact you, what's the best way to reach you?
All the social medias, that goes straight to me.
Okay.
I am trying to pass that down to some other employees to help me, just because sometimes it gets a little overwhelming.
Right.
But you can call the 225-298-4921. So now that number rings both for Baton Rouge and Gonzales.
298-4921.
225-298-4921. And when you call that, it's going to ask you if you want Baton Rouge, press 1, Gonzales, press 2. And we did that because, so when I acquired the Gonzales location, the 647-3939, everybody knows that phone number. I mean, that number's been, the late Donnie Williams, 30 years or more. So that it was important to me to keep that phone number, but I felt like a lot of our customers didn't know that we were doing, because I don't advertise.
Right.
So I figured it was an easy way for me to advertise the Gonzales and it not cost me a dime. So
Yeah.
that customer that's calling that doesn't realize we have one in Gonzales can say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna hit
Yeah,
two
because
for
if you
Gonzales."
live there,
Yeah.
that's a-
So I'm relieving some of the pressure off this store and sending some of it down there. So it works really well. But that 225-298-4921, all the social media platforms, is just CSC Customs.
Yeah.
But you can reach out on there. We reply really quick. You can text that same 225-298-4921. That goes to somebody. That goes to one of our salesmen's phone.
Okay.
So we can text through there. it's easy to get.
Very easy. Good. Yeah, because I know, like, we get a lot of clients and they're looking, and commute is one thing they ask about. And my wife, we've talked to a few people, and that commute from Gonzales to Baton Rouge with traffic is rough.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So now having
and that's
that
why
there
we
is
did
big-
Gonzales. Everybody's like, man, why would you remember when Jubin Road started? Like the whole hype of Jubin Road, and it was going to be the best of everything. So we jumped on that bandwagon and we put a location in the Jubin Road area, and it didn't do well. So everybody asked me, why Gonzales? It's 8 miles down the road.
It's an hour turn traffic.
Gonzales people don't want to drive to Baton Rouge.
Nope.
And vice versa. Baton Rouge people don't want to drive to Gonzales.
That's a fact.
So putting one there, I think year to date, we've only had maybe 3 or 4 existing customers that was already customers of Baton Rouge. The other 97% of it is all brand new business.
Right.
So that location is definitely was a plus.
Yeah. Absolutely. Anything I didn't talk about that you want to bring up, or Christmas specials, anything right now? for the
So
holidays?
we do have a lot of sales on Christmas stuff. This time of the year is when we sell a ton of gift certificates.
Yeah, that's the point.
So I closed my business, which everybody tells me I'm crazy. That all the other business owners and friends that I have tell me that I'm crazy. I closed this store I closed the whole company from the 24th. We work a half a day on the 24th, and we don't come back to the first business day of January.
Nice. Like I said, you're a family man.
Yeah,
we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I want these people to spend time with their family. I had to work those days.
Me too.
And it sucked.
I do it every year still.
Yeah, and it sucked. It wasn't. It's not how I want this done.
And I feel like I'm the only one working that week anyway.
Yeah.
I don't get anything done.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So we will be closed half a day on the 24th. We do have people that purchase things that needs to pick it up on Christmas Eve night, before Santa comes. So we'll meet Santa here to gather everything up. We do have some vehicles here that are built that are being delivered by Santa, you know, so we help with the logistics of getting those vehicles
cool.
to those people's homes. But as far as sales, everything's on sale, you know. Just come in.
Yeah.
I mean, you call any one of these guys and they're going to take care of you. They're going to give you the best deal possible and, you know, hands down the best service.
Yeah. No, I can definitely vouch for that. You guys have always taken great
Yep.
care of me and my people anytime we've needed anything.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
we'll definitely highly recommend CSC Customs.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Chris Wagley. Thank you guys every week for tuning in for Financial Fitness. We'll be back next week with more business spotlights.